What's up, guys? Here we are on another day. We've loaded up the 03 GT wheels. We're gonna take a little trip out, get some different tires on them. We're gonna go with used tires because car definitely still needs an alignment, but in order to be able to travel, put some time in the car, see what else it needs, we need to get some better tires on it. So we're gonna take a short trip up the road, put some different shoes on it. We'll go from there. Figured while I have a few minutes on the road, figured it was a good time to share a little bit about me, who I am, what I do type thing. Most people who are watching this already know who I am, because you're my friends and family. There's a few people who are watching it because it's brought something that I do, brought your attention somehow. So by trade, I'm not a mechanic, I'm an electrician. That's why taking two wiring harnesses and tying them together by reading through schematics and things like that was easier for me than, you know, somebody who's not quite sure what you're looking at. And for those of you who aren't comfortable with looking at things like that, that's fine. It took me a long time of doing electric work to be able to read through schematics, and there's still times that I have to rely on people who are better than it to me for comprehension and explanation of certain things. So, but I have been doing electrical work a while. I grew up working on cars. My grandfather introduced me to it at a very young age, and I always loved nothing more than to work with him on something. Or my parents couldn't get me to sleep, they'd pick me up in the tow. He'd pick me up in the tow truck, run me around, I'd be asleep. I loved it when, you know, he'd pick me up from school in the car hauler. You know, to me that was just the greatest things ever. So just keeping the tradition with that. The older I got a little better in things, and you know, there's day-to-day things on cars, not too much that exceeds my ability. So I'm not terrible at it, but I'm definitely not the greatest. So with the Fox body, I think into 2016, the transmission had blown up in it, and I was done. I knew that wasn't enough. I think I mentioned that in the first video of the Fox body build, but it wasn't going to go back that way. So yeah, I've had it apart for, you know, almost 3 years, but it didn't take me 3 years to build it. I really kind of only started on it to this point back in September or October of last year when I bought the GT and started going at it. And really it was more trying to keep things in an affordable manner, not, you know, just buying the greatest parts from this, you know, searching around, finding what I could and trying to get things to work that way. That took the longest. So the last video I showed, I took a little test drive of it. Got some things I need to work out. I got to figure out about getting an expansion tank or something to relieve the pressure off the upper radiator hose, because it's, in my opinion, it's holding too much pressure on the top end. But she drove around fine. Car stops, brakes work amazing. Power steering has a leak in it. I'll get that figured out. But you know, the whole Hydro Boost and power steering setup and all that with the Fox body rack and the lower control arms, you know, everything just works the way it's supposed to. For none of those parts really supposed to be going together. A little bit about the parts on that car. It's a AJE tubular K-member and lower control arms and solid motor mounts for the 4.6. I got the coilover suspension. I ordered it off Amazon. If you don't believe me, you've seen the pictures of it. Go to Amazon and look for the cheapest coilover suspension on Amazon that you can find for a 99 to 04 car, and you'll see it. Now that car's got way heavy springs on the front. I think the springs on the front of that car are like 400 pounds of springs, something just way far out there. But like I said, I'm doing it on a budget. Didn't have the money to go out and just buy the top end stuff, but you know, it's things that I'll get refined and swapped out as I know that the car proves itself and things are going to last and things are going to work to need better parts. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the Stifler's cross member in the back, the transmission mounts for a T5, the rear end I bought as a whole assembly. Y'all seen that. I had to do a little work with the calipers just because, but I mean, as far as money wise, I've done the car for less than $2,000. I'm probably under $1,500, but I can't say for certain. But I can say for certain it's under $2,000. So For under $2,000, I swapped out to 45,000 mile drivetrain in the car. So that drivetrain should essentially last forever. Well, it won't last forever with me, but if somebody was to baby it, it was. I didn't build the car for drag racing specifically because, you know, I've got the black car. That car is set up, it's so far into that realm of things. You know, you can't just decide you're going to go out and cruise highways with it one day. You can't just go catch a back road, or, you know, if it's just the easiest one to move around at the time, just run down the food line and get your groceries. I mean, you can. Car's not going to like it too much, and at like 15 something a gallon, you're not going to like it too much. So I wanted something that, you know, made some noise, had a little bit of horsepower, but wasn't nothing that I had to make sure it had the greatest parts in order to keep the car together type of thing. Sure, some people look at it and you see the aspect between the Fox body and then the drag car and go, okay, well, you spent all your money on this, didn't leave any money for the Fox. Well, that's not the case. The black car had actually started out, a guy who I look at as a life mentor to me, and somebody who, you know, I hope he felt the same way about me. His health had started to decline. He was a good friend of my dad's, and me and him just got really close at that point, just because, you know, every now and then he needed hands with things. So it got to a point pretty much every day I was at his house, giving him a hand here and there. And, you know, for me it was a great learning experience. If it wasn't something that I could comprehend, or just knew, okay, this is just what it does, but not how, you know, he worked real hard on teaching me things and explaining things to a way that I could understand it. And, you know, just that friendship meant a lot to me. And he decided one day he just wanted to build a fast car. So he started with building a motor, bought parts off of Craigslist, and then sent the parts down to Tytech down in Lewisburg, Tennessee, and he machined up the block, did whatever he had to do, and then they bought parts and swapped parts out. And so it wound up, it was a pretty hot little 383, and that was what we first started with for the 383 setup. When he got the car, it had a 355, 500 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. We went bracket racing with it because I'd never been in anything that quick. The quickest I'd ever been was, I don't know, low 8s maybe. And that was only a couple times. The rest of the times I was running a 10-second V6 Camaro just because going to the drag strip's fun. And that's a little bit of advice. I don't care what you have, what you drive, take it to the drag strip, have some fun. It's just nice fun. I don't care if your car makes 35 horsepower or 3,000 horsepower. Go have some fun at a drag strip. It'll change your life. That's enough of that. But so he finally found a home for that motor, and it was in the Black Vet. I blew that motor up 2 years ago. Had to have the whole bottom end rebuilt, but was able to save the top end of the motor, sorry. You know, heads, intake, valves, lifter, you know, that type of thing. All that was salvageable. So, you know, it wasn't that I spent a whole bunch of money there and didn't have any money to throw at the Fox. I wanted the Fox to be different with what that was, and that's the way it's come out to be. You know, if I take that car out and break something in it, it's not an expensive variant. It's just a simple 8.8 with gears, C-clip eliminators, and a mini spool. You can probably find one attached to most Mustangs in a junkyard for $100. So that's the Vet and the Fox body story. You know, I said a lot about the Fox in the first video, so I didn't want to explain too much about it. Just want to give a little story about the Black Vet. So here we are. Restrictions are being lifted across the nation. Really hoping to see some drag strips open back up. At the same time, I'm not one of those that's gonna run into a big crowd of people and just pretend it doesn't exist. I get it, you know, for healthy people it's fine, but we're not all around people who are the healthiest. So, you know, I'm not to the point where I can say I'm scared of it, but you know, it is things that I'll take precautions with. So that being said, when the drag strips get to opening back up, you know, and it's not just completely crowded, we'll be making more content. We'll have the vet out there. We'll take the Fox out there because, you know, the Fox doesn't have a lot of weight in it. I'd be interested to see what a stock 2-valve with a 3650 in it and tall gears will do on a drag strip. I'd really like to know what the car weighs. I know when you can get them down quite a bit into like the 2,200 pound range, and that's without, you know, doing major choppage on the inside. If you just gut one out, they get down that light. I've got a little more than that on the inside of mine, so I'm sure it's, you know, I'm sure it's slightly heavier than that, but it can't be much more. So just the oh, remember what I'm talking about? Hopefully I'll edit my stupidity gaps out. But so the channel, Just for Fun, seems kind of a corny, cheesy name, but you know, there's a lot of weird names and things out there, and there wasn't things that made sense for me. Just for Fun came to my head because I was like, well, the only reason I better be doing any of this is just for fun. Like I mentioned before, I didn't grow up drag racing. Mathis provided me that opportunity, and so I'm not the greatest at it. I go to the track, I have fun, you know, sometimes I win rounds, but you know, never brought home a big trophy or anything. But to me, you know, you walk away from the drag strip, that's a good day anyway. So, but you know, so I'm not drag racing for money, because if so, that would be a terrible investment. The building the Fox body, you know, I'm not doing that to make any money. That would be a terrible investment. I'm just do it just for fun. It's things that keep me entertained, and the only reason I started making videos was so it was easier to show to friends and family. But you know, if there's other people out there who like the videos, then, you know, feel free, you know, drop me a comment, let me know if there's something that you see that you think I'm a complete idiot about, that you noticed that I did wrong. Well, feel free to drop a comment about that. But you know, just throw some likes, comments in there, you know, let me know what people think about it. So I'm sure at this point y'all are tired of hearing me talking. I probably won't even have this whole conversation in on the video, but I just had some cruising around and needed to do between getting tires, and then I need to get a lawnmower tire as well. So I just figured I'd share a little bit about me with y'all. So y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all shortly. Alright, so there we have it. We got the GT wheels on her now. Oh, brake lights. Gotta figure that part out. Brake light switch is staying on. But we got the GT wheels on her. Now this is taking a few days earlier. If y'all didn't like my rant, sorry. Just trying to fill a few people in who don't know me and watch the videos. So y'all take care. I'll see y'all later.